Oklahoma State gave up 648 yards of offense, lost a defensive star to injury, struggled to run the ball with any efficiency, and still managed to beat Arkansas in double overtime last weekend. What did that game tell us about the Cowboys? What are the biggest concerns? And more importantly, are there fixes? We'll talk about that and more with Tulsa World columnist Berry Tramel next on the Jenni Carlson Show. But before we get to that, I want to say a huge thank you to Visit Stillwater for sponsoring my OSU football coverage this season. If you're headed to Stillwater for a game, check out visitstillwater.org for all sorts of game weekend and game day information. And hey, did you know that you can fly directly to Stillwater? Then I want to encourage you to subscribe. First, to my YouTube channel, @Jenni-Carlson. Just hit that subscribe button. It's free for you, but it helps me out a bunch. So please subscribe today. Then I hope you'll consider subscribing to my website, Beyond the Box Score. You can do so for free, or if you'd like to support my work, you can do so for as little as $8 a month. I hope you consider subscribing, no matter what level, at jennicarlson.substack.com. All right, BT. Well, first off, what a game we got to see Saturday in Stillwater. My goodness.
Yeah. I think probably a good idea that these teams only play every 44 years. For crying out loud, we wouldn't want a game like that to be displayed on Oklahoma gridirons. Now, would we? Yeah, what a game. Oh, my goodness. It was just it was almost like, it was like going to an amusement park or something. There's just too much going on. You can't even keep up with all the stuff going on. Some games you go to, it gets boring, or won't name names, but, nothing's going on. You say, where's the entertainment value? Gundy, something Mike, we don't ever talk about this, but we should have. One thing Mike Gundy said, he says it about twice a year, and he's right. He said, when you come to an Oklahoma State football game, you get entertained. Yeah. And you know what? You do get that was entertainment at the highest level Saturday at Boone Pickens.
Well, he said after the game, he said, can't keep letting teams get these leads and blah, blah, blah. In their last 6 games, I think they've won 3 of them with 14-point comebacks, at least 14-point comebacks. What do you mean you can't do it anymore? You do it all the time.
You've perfected it. This is how you do it. Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what you think, Jacko. Here's what I said, or maybe I said this to you on the way home from the game. Probably Arkansas. Arkansas probably has the better players. Mm-hmm. I think OSU has the better team.
Yeah.
Cowboys didn't wilt. When they got down, they didn't crater. They just kept working and stuck to it and made game plan changes and sort of just good soldiers. And in the end, they won. So Arkansas looked like a team that, had all kinds of potential, but really didn't know how to win. Oklahoma State looked like a team that had limitations, but knew how to win.
Yeah, and one of those limitations came out during the game as Colin Oliver is injured, and we find out after the game he's likely done for a very extended period. His dad has posted on social media it's a Jones fracture. That's one of those foot injuries we know a lot about around here because Thunder had a spate of Jones injuries. So not good for Colin Oliver. What's the impact of that from your perspective, Barry? Looking ahead. I mean, obviously it's disappointing anytime a good, solid player and a good, solid individual like Colin Oliver's hurt. It's painful to see. But what's the impact of this?
Well, the alarm is this: OSU, to whatever level of defensive potential they have, right? Which maybe it's high, maybe it's not. I'll let somebody else decide that for now. This team is not full of difference makers on defense, I don't think. And Oliver ranks at the top of the list of the people who are. And to lose him, a guy, threatening the career sack record, Leslie O'Neal was in town, still holds the OSU sack record and probably going to stand forever now that Colin Oliver's hurt. But when you lose a guy like that, whatever that potential for the defense is, comes down a little bit. Now, OSU's got some options. Obi, let's go. Easy. We went over this on the drive home Monday.
We got the spelling, but the pronunciation.
I don't know that we did the pronunciation. I wasn't thinking of video. I'm going to call him Obi. You can call him the last. What's his last? No, we're going to call him
I think it's Ezeigbo.
Ezeigbo. So Obi Ezeigbo played pretty well for a guy thrust into the spotlight. Gundy sort of indicated that Kendall Daniels is going to move closer to the line of scrimmage, take a lot of those duties, and frankly looks the part and maybe has started playing the part. Gundy was really high on Kendall Daniels and some of the plays he made, including the game-winning tackle, game-saving tackle, or game-ending, fourth down in overtime, double overtime. And Gundy over the years, correct me if I'm wrong, he's not been real quick to jump on the Kendall Daniels bandwagon.
No.
A little bit of tough love going on there, I think. But he was very high on Kendall Daniels yesterday. So if Kendall Daniels can be a reasonable facsimile of Colin Oliver, then everything looks a little bit better for that OSU defense.
Yeah, obviously it's you've got in Obi a Division II transfer from Gannon, a guy that's still, you would assume, figuring out how he fits, where he fits. But he played fairly well. I mean, let's remember that was an SEC offense with SEC, especially offensive linemen and running backs that he was having to contend with. So I was impressed. But I think you're right, Barry. Gundy said Daniels is likely the replacement and the walk-off we had with him. And I asked if the move to linebacker could be full-time, and he indicated he thought that was possible. So I think that is the move. And if Obi Ezeigbo then becomes a backup or a guy that's in there for half the snaps or whatever the number is, you like his chances where he doesn't have to play every snap of the game. So as I think about the defense, though, Barry, I got to admit, while it is concerning to lose Colin Oliver, no doubt about it, that secondary to me continues to be the thing that is a little worrying. They've got guys back there with experience, guys that you think are going to be able to handle things. And in a moment of great brevity in the press conference on Monday, Mike Gundy basically saying any suggestion that it was all about Arkansas getting receivers open. No, he said, it was our fault. We let him go in the secondary. So that secondary, Barry, is a bit of a concern to me.
I come not to praise the OSU secondary, but neither will I come to bury them. A couple points. One is when Gundy did talk about, they were running wide open, but much less so in the second half. And Gundy sort of said, we had them screwed up. We had them in the wrong game plan, offense and defense. We had to fix some things. And a lot of those wide open receivers went away in the second half. Yeah. And also in the first half, I wrote down at least 3 what I considered just unbelievable catches by those Arkansas guys. Guys jumping up ever how high in the air, making acrobatic catches that, frankly, we're used to seeing from like OSU's best receivers, whether it's Rashawn Woods or Justin Blackman or James Washington or somebody. So Arkansas had elite talent, I think, with the guys handling the ball. So I'm going to cut them a little bit of slack there. The OSU defense is still a work in progress. It's not a Leslie O'Neal defense, no doubt about it. I don't think Leslie O'Neal could play for this OSU defense, but mainly because he's like 55 years old. He might have to play second team, come in on third down, pass rush. But they don't have any Leslie O'Neals. But I don't think it's a lost cause with this OSU defense. They do have some playmakers. Cale Smith, did I get that right?
With the interception?
The interception. They had too many Cales and too many Smiths. And, let's see, Dylan Smith, Cale Smith.
Cam Smith.
Cam Smith, Cam Epps. So, just in the secondary, they got guys, it's like the United Nations running around. You can't figure out who's who. But that's a big-time play to, reminded me of Jason Taylor's interception at Texas a few years. Texas dominating the game down there, and it looks like they hadn't spurted away and scored, but you just felt this is not going well. OSU can't do anything. Texas had a lead. They're down there about to score, and they throw a pass. Jason Taylor, pick 6, 80-something yards. Game completely turned. OSU wins. And game didn't completely turn after Cam Smith's interception return, but I did think it gave OSU a life preserver. And they said, you know what, let's just settle down and maybe hang around and see what happens. And what happened is at the end of the game, they had more points.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a shot in the arm at a time that they weren't doing much offensively. And frankly, we're struggling defensively as well. So big play like that. Obviously, a lot of talk about defense. You give up 648 yards. We're going to have to talk some defense. But can we talk about the offense? Because is there going to come a time when the Cowboys decide to actually run the football effectively? Is that going to happen anytime soon?
I don't know. I don't know that it's a decision. I think here we saw the remnants of this at the last of last season when Ollie Gordon turned into a superstar, and the other coaches who, apparently other universities pay their coaches as the way OSU does.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, why don't we try to win this game? Let's put 7 guys in the box and not let Ollie Gordon run wild. Saw it at UCF, and we saw it down the stretch, and it's just going to be tougher and tougher for Ollie Gordon to run. Yeah. So Casey Dunn, Mike Gundy, the whole crew, they're going to have to adjust. They're going to have to do different things, and they sort of did in that second half. Gundy kept saying it, get to the passing game, get to the passing game. They started launching those balls, and Alan Bowman is not Mason Rudolph, and he's not Brandon Whedon, but he's been a pretty effective thrower through these 2 games, and they've got some guys that can make some plays. Brennan Presley foremost among them, and Dejon Stribling, especially when he's not sick like he was Saturday. And they made enough plays that the offense got going, and then they found a way to get Ollie the ball, which I thought was great. Throwing the football. Marshall Falk, Edwin James, all kinds of great NFL tailbacks made their money catching it as much as taking it on a handoff. And also a couple of pitch outs, old-fashioned. You're way too young to remember the quick pitch and the direct pitch to tailbacks, but that used to be a staple of the I formation offense. So I think maybe get Ollie out on the perimeter and see what happens, get him out of the cluster in the middle. So we saw a few flakes of promise out of the run game, or at least the break-free Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, as excited as you might be about pitch outs, I was equally excited about throwing to the tight end, Barry. They threw to the tight end on Saturday. Everybody up.
How about the freshman Ford from Stillwater High School?
Yep.
Gundy's
been talking him up since, I don't know.
Yeah, here's the deal. They are really proud of their pioneers in Stillwater, and they should be. They've won a state title. They knocked off Tulsa Union Friday night. The biggest win, let me promise you, the biggest win in Payne County over the weekend was not the Cowboys taking down Arkansas. Stillwater beating Union is like if OSU had taken down Alabama. So the Pioneers aren't winning those games with a bunch of 140-pounder who's just have a lot of fight. I mean, they got a bunch of good ball players, and here's Ford, a freshman tight end, making big plays in the clutch down the stretch against an SEC team. So I thought that was a very good sign. That's a nice place, as you've been saying in my ear for, I don't know, 15 years, throw to the tight end, and they finally started doing it Saturday, and it worked out well.
They're always open. Apparently, I share something in common with Mike Gundy's son, Gage, and his father, Ray, who apparently have been telling him, throw to the tight end. He finally listened.
We make a lot of jokes about Gundy and how goofy he is and crazy and just saying whatever he wants, but, have some of the people that's in his ear as much as he is. He's probably one of the saner ones among us to hear all the stuff he's got to listen to all the time. He's probably doing a pretty good job of keeping it level.
As we talk about all that OSU is going to have to address moving forward, it's worth remembering, Barry, that they're about to enter into Big 12 play. They've got Tulsa. We'll talk about Tulsa in just a second before we get out of here. But they're about to enter into Big 12 play in a league that we suspected would have a lot of parity. And now it looks even more wide open. Mike Gundy talked a little bit about that on Monday. But, man, this league looks like it's everybody in the pool to figure out who wins this thing.
I literally have no idea who might emerge from the Big 12. I will say this. I think one team has been eliminated from me thinking they can win it.
Okay.
I thought I made a list and just teams that potentially could win it. Not saying they will, not saying they have a good chance, but at least have a shot. I think you could go 10 deep. and I think we've eliminated 2 already, and that's Tech and Colorado. Colorado's, they can't do anything.
No.
And Tech has just been terrible.
Surprisingly so. Woof.
Overtime win over Abilene Christian, blowout loss at Washington State. So that's the good news for OSU is the number of contenders is shrinking, and they're still in the game of musical chairs. So,
and those are 2 teams the Cowboys have on their schedule.
That's right. That's exactly right. So the conference schedule maybe gets a little easier. So conference play starts this week with a couple of teams that, are not picked to win it, not picked high, but be careful, and that's TCU and Central Florida. So that's what I love about the Big 12. It's so wide open. Iowa State had the best win, beating Iowa. I think Cyclones are a contender, and Kansas loses at Illinois. So Kansas State has trouble at Tulane, which is no big crime. The Green Wave have a really good program. Arizona trailing at halftime to Northern Arizona. Yep. So Arizona State might be the most impressive team so far, and nobody thinks they're any good at all. They were picked last.
Yep.
So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the Big 12? It's going to be the funnest league in college football.
Speaking of who knows what's going to happen, let's talk about this Tulsa game on Saturday, Barry. OSU heads up the Turnpike to play the Golden Hurricane. I like when these types of series are scheduled. I like seeing teams play other teams in their state. So I'm all for this series. What is your prediction for Saturday?
Well, I think Tulsa's got some offensive weapons. Unfortunately, they're going through what a lot of teams are going through, which is trying to makeshift their offensive line. They can't protect or run exceedingly well. That's an opportunity for the OSU defense. So I think the Tulsa defense is going to have some trouble. I don't know if Tulsa can load the box and stop Ollie Gordon the way other teams have. We'll see. They're going to try.
Yeah.
This is a game when Ollie could get free. If the Cowboys can't run on Tulsa, I would guess that maybe they're not going to all year, and that Ollie's going to have to become a sort of a versatile, do all kinds of things, tailback to get any kind of numbers or production. But I just think there's too many questions for Tulsa in this game. 20 years ago, or longer than that, 25 years ago, this was a pretty even series. When Tulsa came to Stillwater, they usually lost. When OSU went to Tulsa, it was often a great game, and sometimes the Golden Hurricane won. But OSU's won 9 in a row in the series. Not since 1998 has Tulsa won it. Only a couple of the games over in Tulsa have been close. You covered that. I think you covered that Midnight Madness game.
I did not.
You weren't there, though. That night where they played till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., just nonsense in 2011. But if you go back, everybody remembers the late night stuff. That was like 58-14 or something. I mean, Cowboys have won in some blowouts. I would expect OSU to have sort of a commanding victory Saturday.
Yeah, I think I'll go in the 38-13 range of things. I think it's going to be a pretty easy win. I think there'll be a lot of Cowboy fans over there. Being in Tulsa, got a chance for alums in that area to get there. So I like the Cowboys to win, but you're right. I think it's worth watching what that run game does against the Golden Hurricane. That's all the time we got for now, Barry, but tell people what you got coming up in the Tulsa World.
Well, just going to write about when it comes to the Cowboys, how mid-majors sort of staged an uprising. We don't think OSU's going to lose at Tulsa, but
didn't think Northern Illinois was going to Notre Dame to win.
Did not think it was going to happen. So chaos has come to college football, and that has in some ways emboldened the mid-major.
All right. Thanks, BT.
You bet.
That's all the time we have for now, but please subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website, Beyond the Box Score. It's easy and it's free, but if you want to support my work, you can do so at jennicarlson.substack.com. Also, you can find this episode and all episodes of The Jenni Carlson Show on your favorite podcast app. If you like what you hear, please leave a review. A quick word of thanks to my video dream team, Jacqueline Musgrove and Michael Lane. I couldn't do it without them. And I couldn't do it without you. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.